Okay, so today we're going to be reacting to Evil Food Supply, the Obesity Conspiracy. So this channel is actually very, very good. Um, Truly entertaining. I think this is one of Jake Tran's side accounts. So you know how Jake Tran is. He makes high quality videos with high quality editing and a lot of research. So first time seeing this, we're going to start from 4 minutes in, and I'll give my commentary on it.
Seem impossible to lose that fat no matter how much you diet and exercise, while at the same time, it seems like every single disease and disorder is on the rise. Is it because fat people consume that many more calories than the rest of us? Well, as it turns out, no.
And I gotta tell you, I know we love to beat up on fat people. We love to turn it into a character defect, but I gotta tell you, virtually every fat person that I know or that I've taken care of, they are not disproportionately eating more than their peers. In some cases, yes.
And yet, for some
It's the food. It's literally all of these growth hormones in our food, all these chemicals, pumped full of sugar, added sugar, all these additives. How come they don't talk about that? I mean, there's a lot of chemicals in our food that have been banned from countries all around the world. Europe doesn't put half the chemicals we do in our food, and yet it's being allowed to be served to the masses, even though it's poison.
reason, no matter how hard they diet, no matter how much they exercise, no matter how healthy they eat, they can never seem to lose any weight.
So it says, how do you work out every day and have a belly? It doesn't add up. And then she flops over her hands, revealing her belly that lumps forward. And then the caption states, I've been swimming almost daily for swim teams, plus eating well. And surprise, I still have a belly.
Why? Mainstream fitness and diet gurus will tell you it's because of your macros. You just gotta eat gym rat meals of egg whites and rice that are completely void of nutrition for the rest of your life. And yet, when overweight people try that, it doesn't seem to work and it just leaves them miserable. Big food, big pharma, and the media will be quick to tell you that obesity isn't your fault. It's not under your control, it's genetic.
So notice how he said eating these foods are going to make you miserable. Now let's
seem to work and it just leaves them miserable.
Because they have went their entire lives addicted to these chemicals that are in their food. So when you stop eating certain foods, you get depressed, you get anxious, you have all these feelings, feelings of sadness towards letting go of your addiction of food. That is what happens. There's just, like, if you look at any sort of nutritional label, any sort of food label, any sort of food fact sheet, you will see at least 100 chemicals. And that's not even showing the things that didn't even make it on the back of the nutrition sheet. And it's just crazy to me how doctors and nutritional experts will never talk about that. Why are they pumping our foods full of sugar? Why are they pumping our food full of chemicals? These food companies deliberately go out of their way to put certain chemicals in our food to make us want to buy it, to make us want to keep continuing to purchase it. That is all this boils down to.
Big food, big pharma, and the media will be quick to tell you that obesity isn't your fault. It's not under your control, it's genetic, it's a disease.
In case no one has told you this, you do not have to lose weight to be healthy. You do not have to lose weight to be fit. You do not have to be thinner to live a fulfilling life. You do not have to track your calories every day. That is not bad.
We are not just fat people. We are people.
These are my arms. These are the arms that I have. It's not my problem that you don't want to look at them.
That's insanity. Total insanity. So to call that a non-health issue, to say you're just born obese, that's insane. Okay, there's millions of people all over the world who were naturally inclined to be obese, and they went to the gym, they worked out, you don't even have to go to the gym really. You just gotta be more active. You just gotta do something. Get up, clean your room, walk around the house. You don't even have to leave your house to be in shape. Okay, but these people are literally just spending 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day watching Netflix, eating food. The only time they leave the house is to get more food. Is that healthy? And then they'll sit on their phone and say, "Oh, this is just the way." No, it wasn't. You didn't even try for real. Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Yes, chemicals are in the food, but the fact that some people are genetically inclined to be obese and they are able to reverse it should show that you should obviously be able to reverse your obesity too, because if they can do it, you can do it. Okay, now there are some extreme cases where there's obesity combined with something else that makes it very hard to get active. And those, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people whose only problem is obesity. So it's easier. Like, people see this as this huge milestone. You gotta look long term. It's not gonna happen overnight. People say, "Oh, but I worked out at the gym and I'm still fat." Yeah, because you worked out once, and it takes thousands of times going to the gym in order to to get healthy. Okay, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna happen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Okay, people want things fast. And really, you don't even have to work out to lose weight. Just work out because you like it. Play some music in the background. Put on some headphones. And then you'll start to see it as relaxing. Okay, a lot of people, they hated going to the gym at first, and then they eventually started to see it as relaxing.
I'll gain 300 pounds and be fat.
Thinness does not grant you a better life. I do not owe you thinness.
I am fat and beautiful, and I am worth every bit of space that I take up.
But the truth is that none of that is the case. Macros are just one tiny aspect of overall health, not the end-all be-all. And deep down, we all know humans were not meant to be fat. None of our ancestors were fat.
We're a society that's chronically fed from the time we get up in the morning until the time we go to bed. When you think about it, the only species that are obese and chronically ill are us and the pets we keep warm and fed.
So, my theory is that we're eating way too much food. In addition to having chemicals in our food, we're also eating 3, 4, 5 meals a day plus snacks. Do you really need that much food? Our ancestors only ate one big meal a day. They only ate dinner. Okay, there was no such thing as breakfast. There was no such thing as lunch. They only ate one big meal a day. Anything else is going to weigh your body down. It's going to fill you up too much. It's going to give you too many calories, and you really should not be eating that many meals a day unless you're super active, unless you're actively burning those calories. Okay, they say, "Oh, you need 3,000, almost 3,000 calories a day." Really? 3,000 calories? Okay, yet there's people who can live off of like 1,000 calories a day and suffer no health issues. If anything, they're healthier than people eating 3,000 calories a day. Okay, it's ridiculous.
They get exactly the same diseases.
So why is it so hard in our modern world, with all our modern advancements, to lose weight? The answer lies in something that you'll never hear anyone talk about when it comes to losing weight: your hormones. Welcome to Evil Food Supply, and this is why dieting is a scam.
Why is it that Americans keep getting fatter in spite of government efforts ranging from calorie posting to new school lunch program?
I can say this honestly, probably 95% of America has no idea how to eat. Who taught them? Grandma? No, it's the television that's teaching them.
Everybody knows that doctors don't get any really meaningful education about nutrition.
The average physician in this country has less than 20 minutes of nutrition training, period.
I hate to say it, but your physician probably knows less about nutrition than you do.
I really still feel that it's nearly criminal.
And really fast, if you want to optimize your health, then a product that we've been really loving that's why doesn't it shift to fit? Your hormones are oftentimes Hormones are by far the most powerful chemical compounds inside your body, and oftentimes they are at the root of most of our health problems. If your hormones are optimized, you'll be healthy. You'll have high energy. You won't be tired all the time. But if your hormones are out of whack, it can cause all sorts of trouble, from low sex drive to fatigue to being tired all the time to hair loss, infertility, anxiety, and depression. And what do you know? One of the things that can happen if your hormones are messed up is not being able to lose weight. And yet, if hormones are at the top of most of our health problems, why doesn't anyone ever talk about hormones or even care to explain what they are? Think of hormones as chemical messengers. They ride all around your body through your bloodstream and they attach to cells, telling them to produce more of this or to produce less of that. Or hey, get rid of our fat in our cells or increase the fat in our cells. So in that sense, obesity is not under your control. It's under your hormones' control. Your weight and how much fat you have is regulated first and foremost by your hormones. Your hormones are the base of the pyramid.
I guarantee he's going to talk about testosterone. I guarantee it. He's going to say, "Oh, the reason you're fat is because you have low testosterone." He almost guaranteed.
Which means you can diet and exercise as much as you want, but if your hormones are messed up, it's not going to matter. So if you want to lose weight, fix your hormones first. There are many hormones, but the hormones that matter the most when it comes to losing weight are insulin, cortisol, and ghrelin. Insulin directly tells your body to start.
Oh, I was wrong. I didn't even know insulin was a hormone. The heck is that?
Are insulin, cortisol,
Oh, okay.
And ghrelin.
The heck is ghrelin? I didn't even know that was a body part. Where's that at? It looks like... It looks like you know what. You know what I'm talking about.
Insulin directly tells your body to start storing fat. Here's how it works. Whenever you eat carbs or protein, insulin is released into your bloodstream, which signals to your brain, hey, let's store all this food we're eating into fat. And it doesn't really matter how much carbs or protein you eat. You could eat one tiny bit of cake, and this signal from insulin to store fat will still go off. But it's not just carbs and protein that raise insulin levels. Cortisol, which is a hormone released when you're stressed out, can also cause insulin to rise. So if you're always stressed out, your insulin is going to be high, no matter what you're eating. And then there's ghrelin, another hormone that controls weight loss. Ghrelin is known as the hunger hormone because it makes us hungry. When we haven't eaten in a while, ghrelin is released into our blood, and it returns to lower levels once we do eat, so we don't eat that extra ice cream into our blood. And it returns to lower levels once we do eat, so we don't eat that extra ice cream sundae. But here's the thing. It's that this hormone can only be satisfied by eating whole, natural foods. Nutrient-void foods like starches and sugars don't have the raw ingredients to activate this hormone.
This is the thing with natural foods, is that they have natural satiety mechanisms.
Why do you think you can eat bags upon bags of hot Cheeto fries and never feel full from it? This is why it's so easy to overeat on fake foods.
So if you go to the buffet and you eat like a lot, like way too much, and then you try and eat a couple more pork chops, it's like, you'll never do it. You can't do it. You can't force the pork chop down. But if you're to eat some cookie, you could easily do that.
We've always been told that if we just eat less calories, we'll lose weight. But look around. Food companies have been pushing low-calorie and fat-free snacks for decades, and yet There's more obesity now than ever. Those tiny calorie-controlled bags of
This stuff is total poison. Total poison. Like Doritos, nachos, candy, brownies, pretty much everything on the modern American food shelf is poison. Just look at the ingredients.
baked Doritos are actually not doing us any favors. So maybe, just maybe, there's a lot more to weight loss.
Oh my God. Oh my
doing us any
God.
favors. So maybe, just maybe, there's a lot more.
Now that is unhealthy. That's very unhealthy. When you can barely walk, when you literally can't even move your arms, when your face looks like a perfect spear, maybe it's time to reconsider your diet.
More to weight loss and health than just counting calories and fearing fats.
Counting calories simply does not work at all. And people will say, oh, but it does. Well, if you look at the scientific studies, it doesn't.
The only way to really lose weight and go back to the naturally slim physiques of our ancestors is to fix our hormones, specifically our insulin and ghrelin. And how do we fix them? Remember how we said hormones are chemical messengers? Well, if our hormones are made up of chemicals, then we better be eating enough of those chemicals. What you have to understand about hormones is that they are made up of micronutrients, things like magnesium, vitamin A, iron, and thiamine. These micronutrients are what make your hormones hum. Again, hormones are literally made of these things. So if you're lacking in any of these nutrients, your hormones won't be able to do their job. Think of it like you're trying to build a house, but you're low on bricks and wood. So you make do with what you have and build your house out of cardboard. That is the state most people's hormones are in. They're eating so much, but what they're eating is void of any of the micronutrients they need. So their hormones like insulin and ghrelin get completely out of whack. This is also why simply focusing on macros, like how much protein, carbs, and fats you eat, is not going to do anything unless you first attack what you're deficient in. And you might be thinking to yourself, but I'm pretty healthy. There's no way I can be deficient in anything. Well, you're probably wrong. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, well, or sick, because 92% of the population is suffering from at least one mineral or vitamin deficiency.
92%. 92%. Wow.
92%. There are many different micronutrients to worry about, but here's the thing. Everyone is deficient in different things, depending on what kind of food they eat and where they live in the world. Even your mother's nutrients levels while you were in the womb will decide what you're deficient in when you get older. If you live in the US, you probably eat foods that have been grown in sad, depleted soil. And this can cause major nutrient deficiencies. See, farmers used to do things like add compost to their soil to boost nutrient levels. But now, the commercial farmers of America just don't have time for that. They just keep reusing the same soil until that soil is completely void of every single last nutrient.
Wow. That's crazy. So this is what companies like Monsanto are doing. This is what all these big corporations are doing. They want a higher profit, so they're willing to trade health for profits. And I'm not even sure why he's not talking about things like GMO chemicals and freaking pesticides being added to the food. Okay, maybe he's getting to it, but you know, we're 15 minutes in, he should probably talk about that stuff because that is absolutely linked to obesity. And they're just tearing up the soil. They're making too much food. Why are we making so much food? We don't need this much food. And we have more than enough. So let's take a break and allow our soil to heal. Let's let the soil heal. Let's just cut it back a little bit and say, okay, we're gonna let the soil heal so we can add things like compost to it. And yeah, because this isn't sustainable. This is not sustainable. Just reusing the same exact soil with the same exact crop. They did the same exact thing in Haiti. And Haiti is a barren wasteland. Okay, when they were a colony, a slave colony, Haiti, the Haitian slave owners just wanted crop after crop. They wanted profits. They cared nothing about longevity. All they cared about was profit. So they kept making the same crop. They kept working people to death and reusing the same soil. And lo and behold, you can't, the soil is not fertile anymore. It's not fertile at all. And you can't even plant anything. These people are starving in Haiti. There's zero chance for agriculture. It's a Mad Max level apocalypse. And that's coming to America if we keep destroying our environment. If we keep destroying our soil, destroying our rivers, destroying the air we breathe, then that will be the future.
Now, the commercial farmers of America just don't have time for that. They just keep reusing the same soil until that soil is completely void of every single last nutrient.
But very often our food is just so nutrient deficient, right? We update the macros on the back of a lot of labels, but if you look at the micros, like how much spinach, how much iron is in spinach or calcium is in spinach, or how much nutrients are on the label of most foods, I mean, it's a fraction of what's actually listed there. And so we're nutrient deficient.
This is why simple things like tomatoes in Italy taste way more flavorful than tomatoes in the US.
Oh, wow.
And are probably way richer in nutrients as well. Our food is a shell of its former self. In the book, The Thermo Diet, the author tells the story of an anonymous man named Jeff. Jeff was an American in his 20s that suffered from a lot of common things people suffer through today. Depression, mood swings, skin rashes, erectile dysfunction, sore muscles. When he went to the doctor to check his nutrient levels, they found that he had massively high levels of copper in his blood, along with some glaring deficiencies in zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, and B vitamins. So his doctor put him on a vitamin supplement to correct the deficiency. And almost immediately, his body started to expel the copper that was causing imbalances in his hormones. He even saw the copper physically come out of his body in the form of bright orange turds.
Wow. Yeah, because if you have too much of one micronutrient, it'll take away from other micronutrients that you might need. Okay, if you have too much copper, you won't have enough of something else because they all feed off of each other. Okay, so it's very important to eat real food, to eat balanced food, and not balanced as in, oh, whatever the food pyramid tells you. I mean balanced as in balanced with nature, balanced with, you have to eat natural food. Okay, whatever the food pyramid tells you, doesn't matter if you're eating GMOs, if you're eating chemicals. Okay, you gotta eat natural. You gotta, like other countries, they don't have fake food like in America. Okay, in Europe, in pretty much every single part of the world, except maybe China, they all serve natural food.
Disgusting, but true. And just like that, all his ailments went away. That is the power of fixing what you're deficient in.
And so we're nutrient deficient, right? Human beings are not as sick as we have been led to believe we are. The majority, in my opinion, of pathology and disease as we know it today are nutrient deficiencies, missing raw material in the human body. And we just accept all these things as a consequence of aging: weight gain, water retention, lack of sleep, poor focus and concentration, lack of waking energy, hormone imbalance. And we think that the body has all of these different pathologies and diseases, but the truth is it's usually nutrient deficient. It's astounding what happens to human beings when you give their body the raw material that it needs to do its job. I mean, it really is.
Taking the right micronutrients will mean your hormones will actually be able to do their job correctly, which will entail losing fat. And that is why you need to get tested as soon as possible. Everyone watching this documentary needs to get your blood and hair tested to find out what micronutrients you're low on, so you know exactly what you need to fix your hormones. There are some at-home test kits available online, but we haven't found one we trust yet. But once we do, we'll let you know in our Evil Foods Insider newsletter that you can join with the link below. It takes less than 15 seconds. So now that you know why micronutrients are so important, what micronutrients do we actually need to fix our insulin so we lose fat? Micronutrients fall into two categories: vitamins and minerals. Vitamins are raw materials used by the body to complete very specific processes. For example, to produce serotonin, so you don't have depression all the time, the body needs vitamin B6. While minerals like magnesium, zinc, and iodine are key for hormonal and nerve function. Take the thyroid gland, for example. The hormones the thyroid produces are insanely important. They do everything from regulating the body's metabolic rate to regulating its growth and development. But to make thyroid hormones, the thyroid needs iodine, a mineral. And then there's also amino acids. While not technically a micronutrient, amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and so many people are deficient in them. So whenever you eat protein, your body will take the amino acids in the protein and use it to grow and repair your body, including your muscles. This is why people who lift weights are always talking about amino acids and creatine. So when you understand this, that every single little process in your body depends on having enough of these nutrients, it's easy to see why a diet of sugary cereals and almond milk for breakfast, American white bread for lunch, and cheap processed pizza for dinner is gonna...
That is... No, you can, and the sad thing is, he's not wrong. Most people actually do live off pizza, white bread, processed bologna, processed breakfast cereal filled with sugar. Okay, he's not wrong. A lot of people don't even think, and then when they get obese, they want to say, "Oh, I can't do anything about it." It's crazy.
Leave your body absolutely starved of all of these things, which is going to lead to obesity, depression, anxiety, ADHD, which just so happens to be all the terrible things most Americans suffer from. This is why you need to cut the nutrient-void fake foods and opt for nutrient-dense foods like red meat, while supplementing for the rest of the things your body needs. But not all forms of micronutrients are created equal, especially a lot of the cheap supplements that are peddled.
Flintstones, with all the vitamins kids need.
Remember Flintstone vitamins? Parents all over America would pop these candy-colored pills into their children's mouths, assuming they're getting a complete dose of essential nutrients. I mean, that's what it said on the label. But what the whole country didn't know about these vitamins is that the form of the vitamin matters. Plant-based synthetic vitamin powders, like the kind you find in those cheap drugstore brands, are in no way comparable to vitamins found in real food. They might even do more harm than good. Plant-based vitamin A supplements can actually block thyroid function and cause you to gain weight, while animal-based vitamin A supports the thyroid. Plant-based vitamin A is also 20 times less bioavailable than the vitamin A you would get from animal foods. Bioavailability means how easily does a substance become completely available to its intended destination once you consume it. You'll find this pattern with pretty much every vitamin out there, and that is why you want to avoid multivitamins. So what are the two biggest vitamin deficiencies in the US? This probably won't surprise you, but it's vitamin D3 and B12. Plants don't produce vitamin D3, only meat and the sun do. So when you think about how America has been eating a grain-based diet since the 70s, as per the food pyramid's rules, it's no wonder everyone is so low in the essential vitamin. Add in the fact that people spend almost their entire day working in an office completely shielded from the sun, and it's all starting to make sense. One study showed that 80 to 90% of obese people have a vitamin D deficiency. And another showed that if Americans had enough vitamin D, we would cut national healthcare costs by 25%. Peter Attia recommends that we get 400 to 600 micrograms or 15,000 to 24,000 IU of D3 per day. Just standing in the sun on a bright summer's day for 20 minutes will give you that amount of vitamin D3. But if you don't get sun where you are, load up on animal foods. Butter, eggs, liver, shrimp, and crab all have high amounts of D3. And once again, you want to get your D3 from animal sources, not plants. Those synthetic plant-based vitamin D2 supplements have actually been linked to disorders like hyperactivity and heart disease. And since it's from plants, it probably won't even get absorbed nearly as well. So we've taken care of vitamin D. Now for the next big deficiency, B12. This is another vitamin that can only be found in animal foods, which is why vegans and vegetarians are always freaking out over getting enough B12.
Yes, vegans are at a greater risk of getting a B12 deficiency than the rest of the population. So they absolutely should take B12 supplements.
But it's not just vegans who are low in this. Because of the grain-based American diet and our depleted soil, 39% of Americans are now low in B12. And when you're low in B12, you will feel horrible. You'll be tired all the time. You'll have numbness in your hands and feet. Low B12 is even being linked to Alzheimer's disease. We used to get B12 naturally from our bacteria-rich soil, but now we need to get it from animal foods like liver, kidney, meat, fish, oysters, clams, mussels, milk, and eggs. But vitamins are just one piece of the puzzle. Minerals. They keep us hydrated. They balance our blood sugar. They can even heal wounds. Our hair, nails, teeth, and bones are literally made of minerals. But just like vitamins, we've become super low in them. And it's all because of, you guessed it, industrial farming. Before the industrial age, Americans got plenty of minerals from their animal-based diets and from eating local produce grown in mineral-rich soil. But when farmers started abandoning their slower, traditional farms for the more economical factory farms, mineral levels in Americans started to drop. Now, over half the US is deficient in essential minerals. And the main deficiencies that tend to show up on this side of the world is iodine and magnesium. Iodine deficiency is a huge problem right now. Over 2 billion people worldwide are dangerously low in it. And having low iodine can cause thyroid problems, mental—
Oh my God. What in the world?
And having low iodine can cause thyroid problems.
Whatever that is, I do not want that. No, sorry. No. Okay, this is terrible.
Mental retardation in children, low IQ, and irreversible brain damage. One government agency even called iodine deficiency as the greatest cause of preventable mental impairment in the world. Documentary on this coming soon. The problem with iodine is that it's only found in high amounts in soil, seaweed, and seafood. And we know that soil is no longer rich in minerals. So if you don't live near an ocean or don't eat seaweed or seafood on a regular basis, you're gonna be deficient. This is why people from the Appalachian region famously used to have low iodine in the 1920s, and why the US decided to fortify table salt with iodine, just to make sure everyone gets at least a little dash. It's recommended that you get at least 150 micrograms of iodine a day. A single
Wait, so iodine is in table salt? So it was so freaking bad. People were so low on iodine that the government had to add iodine to our food. Crazy.
It's recommended that you get at least 150 micrograms of iodine a day. A single serving of cod gives you 158 micrograms. 8 oysters will give you 160 micrograms. You can also find iodine in other foods like egg, milk, and liver. So get in that iodine. The next biggest mineral deficiency is magnesium. As of right now, about 1 in 2 Americans is deficient in magnesium, about 45%. Magnesium is key for a whole bunch of important processes in the body. It regulates blood sugar, builds bones, and supports healthy nerves. If you're tired all the time, you're depressed, anxious, maybe you get muscle twitches, it might be because you need more magnesium. Our soil used to be rich in magnesium, but as you know, this is no longer the case. This is why we need to make sure we're getting enough magnesium from foods like anchovies, sardines, mackerel, crab, oysters, cheese, and shrimp. But compared to produce grown in magnesium-rich soil, these foods usually won't be enough to reach the recommended level, which is around 400 milligrams a day. So taking a magnesium supplement, either as a transdermal spray or magnesium glycinate capsules, is usually necessary when your levels are low. Taking magnesium before bed is also a great way to improve your sleep. So we've taken care of the vitamins and minerals, but there's one more essential nutrient you'll need to include in your diet. We've all heard fitness coaches talking about how important amino acids are.
The benefits of taking aminos. Again, it's recovery, sustained energy, it is hydration.
Amino acids are organic compounds that bind together and form protein in your body. They build hair, skin, muscles. They also support your hormones. Amino acids are the reason why some guys can build huge muscles naturally. And they're the reason why people who eat a vegan diet start noticing how much better their skin and hair looks after they eat meat again. That's because although some amino acids are made by the body, others like lysine, leucine, and threonine can only be absorbed through food. And the only foods you can get these essential amino acids from are eggs, milk, and meat. Some plant-based foods like nuts and whole grains will have these essential amino acids, but they might only have a few of them, not all 9. One simple egg contains all 9 essential amino acids, but only if you eat both the yolk and the white. Cheese is also very high in amino acids because of how concentrated in protein it is. It sounds so simple to just eat more nutrient-dense food, but a lot of us have been tricked into thinking animal foods will cause disease and make us fat, even though the lack of micronutrients and amino acids in plant-based foods are exactly what's messing up everyone's hormones and thus making them fat. But it's not just that plant-based foods tend to be void of micronutrients, it's that they also contain something called anti-nutrients. And anti-nutrients are exactly what they sound like. So you're spending all this money on supplements and good food. And you think you're absorbing all these nutrients, but if you're still eating things like beans, nuts, and grains, you could be blocking the nutrients from your expensive supplements and grass-fed steaks from being absorbed. See, nuts, seeds, beans, cruciferous vegetables, and the bran of grains contain something called phytic acid and goitrogens. Phytic acid and goitrogens also have a nickname, anti-nutrients. When you eat these anti-nutrients, one of two things will happen. They will either block your body from absorbing nutrients from animal foods by altering your digestion, or they will literally merge with nutrients in your bloodstream, rendering them useless. So they're
Whoa. I gotta go back and see what is so nuts, seeds, beans, cruciferous vegetables. Not sure what that is. Bran. Like raisin bran. Huh. Nuts are unhealthy? What? So it feels like you can't eat anything except eggs, meat, and shoot, that's it. Eggs and meat. So crap, we're all out of luck, people.
And goitrogens. Phytic acid and goitrogens also have a nickname, anti-nutrients. When you eat these anti-nutrients, one of two things will happen. They will either block your body from absorbing nutrients from animal foods by altering your digestion, or they will literally merge with nutrients in your bloodstream, rendering them useless. So they're basically hitching rides on nutrients you're eating and making them unusable. So even if you're eating lots of animal foods, that kale smoothie or salad you thought was healthy will literally block the micronutrients you're taking in. But not all hope is lost if you love things like hummus, like we do. If you really want to still eat grains, beans, and other plant foods, you can kill off the anti-nutrients by preparing them in the right way. There's a reason why traditional cultures soak, sprout, and even ferment grains before eating them. Think sourdough bread, or why there's pretty much no ancient culture that ate brown rice. It was always white rice, because the bran of brown rice contains phytic acid. Overcooking cruciferous vegetables like broccoli can kill off the goitrogens, and fermenting green vegetables like cabbage and kale will also make them safer to eat. What you definitely don't want to do is eat raw cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale. Raw cruciferous vegetables can actually block your thyroid from producing hormones, and this is going to throw your weight loss plan way off track. So, what should we be eating every day to make sure we're getting all the micronutrients we need? If you noticed, most of the food examples we've mentioned so far are mostly animal foods. Meat, milk, eggs, seafood, cheese. It's because these are by far the most nutrient-dense foods. So that should make up a good portion of your fridge and diet. If you have enough money for organic and grass-fed, go for it. Because conventional meat, eggs, and dairy are full of hormones that will just cancel out your efforts. You'll also want to include some fruit and root vegetables in your diet. Root vegetables include potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions, carrots, and so on. Organic fruit and root vegetables are easy to digest, high in fiber, which is great for lowering insulin, and won't block nutrients like grains, beans, and leafy greens do. If you live around the Mediterranean, well then, lucky you, because the people there have been eating breads and pastas for who knows how long, and they look just fine.
Yeah, what was up with doctors saying we need to eat grains to be healthy? When did that become a thing? Because as far as I can remember, I don't think any culture in human history actually thought grains were healthy. So like salad, broccoli, all this crap they tell us to eat, and then come to find out that's canceling out nutrients. It's terrible.
Carrots, and so on. Organic fruit and root vegetables are easy to digest, high in fiber, which is great for lowering insulin, and won't block nutrients like grains, beans, and leafy greens do. If you live around the Mediterranean, well then, lucky you, because the people there have been eating breads and pastas for who knows how long, and they look just fine. If you're in the US and you're able to source quality ingredients from places like Italy and France, we're all for it. But the fortified, ultra-refined flour in America that shouldn't even be considered real flour?
No. Nope.
That is a big no-no.
Get that thing away from me!
Don't forget to test yourself for nutritional deficiencies through a hair test and blood test. And once you get the results back, that's when you can start supplementing. And you don't want to go for the cheapest of the cheap. We know people inside the supplement industry, and it is very sketchy. Go for the best quality you can afford. But remember to try to fix your deficiencies with real foods first. And ideally, unless you're trying to jumpstart your metabolism in the morning, or you're an athlete that needs to constantly be downing calories, stop snacking. Every time you put food in your mouth, you spike your insulin. And it doesn't matter if it's just a couple of nuts or an entire pizza.
The way human nutrition is not that complicated. When you eat, your body wants to store food energy. Because food energy is coming in, you should store it for a time that you don't have it. And when you are not eating, then insulin falls, and you simply take that food energy that you stored and you burn it. And that's why you don't die in your sleep like every single night. It's like, yes, you don't have to eat muffins every 2 hours. Body human nutrition is not that complicated. When you eat, your body wants to store food energy. Because food energy is coming in, you should store it for a time that you don't have it. And when you are not eating, then insulin falls, and you simply take that food energy that you stored and you burn it. And that's why you don't die in your sleep like every single night. It's like, yes, you don't have to eat muffins every 2 hours to survive. But that's the way nutrition is. So if you think about it, now we're eating sort of 10 times a day instead of 3 times a day. So 10 times a day, we are telling our bodies to store fat.
That's why people rave about eating only 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. Maybe that's right for you. So your fridge is stocked, you've got your...
called it at the beginning. I said, why are people eating 3-4 meals a day plus snacks? Plus snacks. So it's 3 meals a day. You should eat 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner. You don't need lunch. If you've eaten a real big meal, you should eat a big lunch, or not a big lunch, a big breakfast and a big dinner. And then that should hold you off for the whole day. And I don't understand how you could argue with this point if you're already obese. I can understand if you're just the thin guy trying to gain weight, but if you're like 300-400 pounds and you're eating 3 meals a day, why? Why? Are you serious?
Your supplements. But there's another factor you need to take care of: stress. Remember, cortisol is a chemical that gets released in your body during stressful periods, and it can raise insulin. One study done at the University of California found that people with low cortisol also had lower than average body fat. So it's very important that you keep your stress levels low. You can do all the meditation, deep breathing, and exercise you want, but for most people, the best solution is to find a better job that you love. But that's a topic for another channel.
So pretty
From a fried
pretty decent video.
Often when
Yes, obesity is a problem. What they are telling us is the solution isn't really the solution. It's all these sort of chemicals, the food pyramid. As time goes on, it's more and more of a lie. They said, oh, you gotta eat a bunch of this, then you gotta eat that, and then you gotta have sugar, and it's just a lie. If the soil itself that the food is being grown on is unhealthy, then I guess it doesn't matter what you eat. Okay, the only real thing that is healthy in today's world is meat. It's meat, because you eat, let's say a cow eats food. It takes that food in its digestive system and processes out all the toxins, all the deficiencies, and then you eat that cow, and then your body also processes out all the deficiencies and all the chemicals, all the toxins. And so it's like a double layer of protection. But with the plants, it's not like that at all. It all comes from the soil. It all comes from the soil. When you eat a plant and that plant is unhealthy, it'll just be unhealthy. There's no process to filter that stuff out when it comes to plant matter. Okay, plants don't have digestive systems. They don't have this reviewing mechanism where they can just take and leave stuff. No, it's not like that at all. So eat meat. Really, that's the whole message I got from this video, is to eat meat. That seems like it's the only thing that's healthy. And non-GMO meat. Luckily now GMO has not really hit mainstream when it comes to animal meats. Okay, yes, you'll have cows being shot up with chemicals and hormones, testosterone. They'll give cows testosterone, steroids. They'll give cows anything to make the animal grow bigger, but at the end of the day, that animal is still infinitely more healthier to eat than a cabbage, than spinach, than anything that comes out of a cereal box. Okay, that's infinitely more healthy. So yeah, so what do you guys think? Do you guys think this video was spot on? Do you guys think he has a point? Let me know in the comments.